Today I'm going to tell you about something that I first perceived when I was actually under the influence of satanic witchcraft. Now, what I'm telling you about right now is something... So if you picture a room, you might call it really a grand castle that was all made out of pure white stones, and they all radiated light. And in this castle there were many people, or say in this palace there were many people, and all of these people were they were as pure white, with no facial features, no real distinguishing noticeable characteristics between each other. And some had wings, some did not, but in general everyone is very much the same looking. And everyone has a white stone that is roughly like, if you had my two hands held out together, it would be about this, what would fit in between them. And this white stone is kind of like their name. It is also kind of like a place, and it is also kind of like a body. It is difficult to describe, but I think it will make more sense as I go on. So, some of those who were here began to find that there was darkness appearing upon their stones, and they, attempting to purify their stones, they took the darkness onto their own bodies. But they failed to purify it because then they themselves were defiled by it, essentially. And so then they would pour that darkness back onto the stones, but then the stone, which was also a part of them in a way, would just remain defiled, and there was no way to truly purify it. And some put part of the darkness on the stone and part of the darkness upon themselves, and others went wholly, and just because they could not have pure light, they delved deeply, and then they turned both their stones and themselves to the purest of darkness. And it is these ones who began to attack those who remained pure. And there was one who was greater than all the others. He was the creator of them all. And this one was purest of all of them, and he defeated the others. However, he had a stone, and this stone was actually pure darkness. There was no light remaining. It was the darkest stone. And originally, when I first perceived this, I thought of it as, aha, God has his own sins, and therefore he just pours out his sins into this stone, and that is how he remains pure before the rest of his people, and that's how he remains looking holy, but he is actually not. I found out this is incorrect. Today, I was considering the fact that I had started smoking again, and I really wish that I hadn't. I had some rather stupid justifications for it, but what it really was I was addicted to cigarettes again. And what ended up happening was, while I was in church and I was praying and I was asking for God to help me to become closer to him, as I sat there praying, I perceived hands that were mine, but not like my physical hands, that were made out of this pure white, but there was darkness like blemishing the palms and my fingers. And I wanted to let go of it. I wanted to get rid of it, because the pastor was talking a lot about letting go, and it seemed like, first I have to allow myself to be changed, and second I have to just let go of the things that are keeping me further from God. And I also then perceived that there were two hands, purest white, that held out towards me the same black stone, and the darkness rushed from my hands into the black stone and was consumed therein, and I was made pure by it. And because these stones are both names and bodies, and also somewhat places to a certain degree, I have come to a fuller understanding of what that black stone truly is. That stone is Jesus Christ, that precious cornerstone, the stone that the builders refused. And the reason that it's dark, it is not because of God having sinned, but because God was willing to send his only begotten Son to take all the sins of the world unto himself. Not that he had sinned of himself, but that all the rest of the world's sins might be purified by him, the ultimate self-sacrifice. And it gave me a truly greater understanding of what I had actually been doing, or I should say, or what I had actually perceived back when I was essentially a closet Satanist. But what I have come to notice is, another thing that I've come to notice from this is basically that the devil will tell you 90% of the truth, but he will hold back just that little 10% that lets you know what's actually going on. I mean, when you look at 90% of the truth, sure, you might guess what's actually going on, but you would just as easily draw the wrong conclusion from that. And that is why I didn't have the whole story back then, but now I have the whole story, because God has revealed it to me. And I must say, this is a gift that is beyond price. And to quote a parable from the scriptures, it is like unto a field wherein when a man found treasure in it, he hid the treasure, and then he went and sold all that he had and bought that field. And to be honest, this is a field that I want to buy. I want to be part of God's kingdom, to be purified of all that darkness that I've had. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You have a blessed day.